Every morning you wake up, before the world starts pulling at you emails, obligations, expectations, ask yourself one question. Asterisk, what am I really living for? Asterisk, not just what am I doing today, but asterisk, why asterisk am I doing it? You see, we live in a time where success is often defined by outcomes, titles, money, recognition. But all of that is noise if it's not tied to something deeper, purpose. And purpose isn't handed to you. It's something you uncover through reflection, faith, and sometimes even failure. Denzel Washington once said, "Put God first in everything you do." Now, whether your belief is spiritual, philosophical, or personal, that statement carries weight. It's a call to orient your life around something bigger than your ego. When you anchor yourself to purpose, not applause, your decisions change. You stop chasing validation and start building value. You stop reacting to life and start living it on your terms. There's a kind of psychological alignment that happens when your internal compass matches your external actions. Psychologists call it congruence. Philosophers call it authenticity. Either way, it's rare and it's powerful. When you're congruent, you walk into rooms differently, you speak with clarity, you work with conviction, and most importantly, you sleep at night with peace. We all have the capacity to live with that kind of direction, but it doesn't happen by accident. It requires daily intention, a quiet commitment to return, again and again, to what truly matters, not just when life gets hard, but especially when it's easy to forget. So start there, not with your goals. Not with your to-do list, but with your asterisk, why asterisk, because when your purpose comes first, everything else finds its rightful place. If you're not willing to fail, you're not ready to succeed. That may sound counterintuitive, especially in a world that teaches us to avoid mistakes at all costs, to stay safe, play smart, minimize risk. But the truth is, every breakthrough begins where your comfort zone ends. The people who make the biggest impact, who live with fire in their gut and purpose in their step, are not the ones who avoid failure, they're the ones who invite it. Denzel Washington said, "Don't be afraid to fail big, to dream big." He wasn't romanticizing failure, he was reframing it. Because failure, when faced directly, is one of life's most honest teachers. It strips away illusion. It tests your resolve. It exposes your real motives. And if you're willing to learn from it, it sharpens you into someone who's more focused, more fearless, more capable than before. Psychologically, the fear of failure is often tied to identity, the false belief that if we fall short, we are somehow diminished. But failure doesn't define you. What defines you is the courage to move through it without letting it distort your self-worth. Philosophers like Kierkegaard talked about the leap of faith, not just in the spiritual sense, but in daring to act without guarantees. That's where transformation begins. Dreaming big doesn't mean fantasizing. It means daring to envision something so meaningful that you're willing to risk being uncomfortable, misunderstood, even rejected just to give it a shot. That's bravery, and that's the price of growth. So don't aim to avoid failure. Aim to outgrow it, because the size of your dream should scare you, not because it's too big, but because you know you're ready to grow into it. Motivation is a spark, it gets you started. But discipline is the engine that keeps you moving when the fire dies down. And believe me, it will die down. There will be days when you don't feel inspired, when the goal seems too far, when your energy doesn't match your ambition. That's where most people stop. But the ones who keep going, they understand something deeper. That consistency, not intensity, is what shapes greatness. Denzel Washington said, "Dreams without goals are just dreams." But he didn't stop there. He added, "And goals cannot be achieved without discipline and consistency." That's the hard truth. You can visualize, journal, manifest, but if you don't show up and do the work, when it's inconvenient, none of it sticks. From a psychological perspective, discipline is about self-regulation, your ability to align your short-term behavior with your long-term values, and it's not about perfection, it's about direction. Philosophers like Aristotle believe that excellence is not an act, but a habit. You become what you repeatedly do, not what you occasionally feel. So here's the question, are you building a system or are you chasing a mood? Because moods are fickle. They rise and fall with the weather, with your sleep, with a single comment on social media. But discipline, real, earned discipline, gives you something unshakable. It's how you earn your own respect. You don't need to be extreme. You just need to be consistent. And if you show up every day, even imperfectly, you begin to train your mind to trust your own word. That's when real change starts. So stop waiting to feel ready. Decide to be reliable, because motivation may start the race, but discipline finishes it. We're wired to seek comfort. The brain's default setting is safety, familiarity, routine, predictability. But here's the paradox. Everything you truly want, growth, mastery, meaning, exists just beyond that comfort. Denzel Washington put it plainly, ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. Most people run from difficulty. But the truth is, difficulty is the doorway. Think about it. When was the last time you truly grew while everything in your life was easy? Probably never. It's the struggle that forges character. It's the pressure that builds resilience. We want strength, but avoid the resistance it requires. We want clarity, but resist the confusion that precedes it. That's not how transformation works. Psychologically, we grow through something called optimal anxiety. It's that state just outside your comfort zone where you're challenged enough to stretch, but not overwhelmed. That's the sweet spot, and yet, most people live their entire lives avoiding it. They confuse comfort with happiness and wonder why they feel restless in stillness. But comfort is a sedative. It dulls the edge of who you could become. Philosophers have long argued that the purpose of life isn't pleasure, it's fulfillment. And fulfillment requires effort, deliberate effort. The kind that wakes you up early, keeps you up late, and demands more of you than you think you can give. But on the other side of that discomfort is something priceless: confidence, capability, and the deep satisfaction of knowing you didn't settle. So ask yourself, are you avoiding discomfort, or are you stepping into it with intention? Because the pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret, that one lingers. Growth never happens in the shallow end. You've got to wade into deep water if you want to rise. You'll never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. That line, delivered by Denzel Washington with his signature calm authority, says more in one sentence than some people grasp in a lifetime. No matter how much you accumulate, money, titles, followers, accolades, you can't take any of it with you. And yet, many of us live as if accumulation is the end goal. As if the measure of a life well lived is how much you owned instead of how much you gave. But legacy isn't built on possessions. It's built on impact. The way you made people feel, the lives you touched, the wisdom you shared. Psychologically, we know that humans derive lasting fulfillment not from acquiring things, but from meaningful contribution. Contribution gives us a sense of identity that transcends the ego. It connects us to something larger than ourselves. Philosophers have echoed this for centuries. From Marcus Aurelius to Viktor Frankl, the message is the same. Your value lies in how you serve, not just what you achieve. And serving doesn't require a stage or a spotlight. Sometimes it's how you show up for your family. Sometimes it's how you lead with integrity when no one is watching. Sometimes it's simply choosing to do the hard, right thing over the easy, convenient one. The truth is, the world doesn't need more people chasing trophies. It needs more people building bridges. People whose success isn't measured by status, but by substance. So live today with the end in mind, not in a morbid sense, but a motivating one. Ask yourself, if I wasn't here tomorrow, what part of me would still remain in the lives of others? Because what you leave behind isn't what you owned, it's what you gave away. Gratitude isn't soft. It's not sentimental or passive. In fact, it might be the most resilient mindset you can cultivate. Because when you move through life with gratitude, you gain perspective. You start seeing challenges not as burdens, but as invitations. You recognize that even the difficult seasons shaped something in you, a strength, a depth, a compassion that comfort alone could never teach. Denzel Washington speaks often about giving thanks in advance. That's not just optimism, that's faith. That's the psychological shift from scarcity to sufficiency. And when you start living from that place, you stop reacting to life like it's happening to you, and start responding like it's happening through you. Gratitude doesn't mean you lower your standards. It means you raise your awareness. You stop missing the small wins because you're too focused on the next goal. You begin to lead with appreciation instead of entitlement. And that changes how you show up in every space, from your relationships to your work to your inner dialogue. There's a philosophical grace to it, too. The Greeks called it eudaimonia, a life of meaning, rooted not in fleeting pleasure, but in character and contribution. Gratitude grounds you there. It slows you down just enough to notice the people who helped you, the lessons that refined you, and the moments you might have otherwise overlooked. But it doesn't stop there. Because once you live with gratitude, you start leading with it. You become the kind of person who lifts others, not just by what you say, but by how you carry yourself, with humility, with intention, with presence. So don't just count your blessings. Become *1. Let who you are be the reminder someone else needed to keep going.